So, am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my topic is analysis of variance. So first of all, I will give overview of this topic and then introduction. So analysis of variance is a collection of statistical models. It is one of the significant aspects of statistics. The statistics students should be aware of the analysis of variance, but most of the statistics students find it challenging to understand analysis of variance. Now, what is analysis of variance? Analysis of variance is the most powerful analytic tool available in statistics. It splits an observed aggregate variability that is found inside the data set. So then separate the data into systematic factors and random factors. In the systematic factors, the data set has statistical influence. On the other hand, random factors don't have these features. The analyst uses the ANOVA to determine the influence that the dependent variable has on the dependent variable. Independent variable has on the dependent variable. So with the use of analysis of variance, we test the difference between two or more means. So means, all of us know that what is mean, means average. So most of the statisticians have an opinion that it would be known as analysis of means. So we can rename this topic as analysis of means. We use it to test the general rather than to find the difference among means. So with the help of this tool, the researchers can able to conduct many tests simultaneously. So analysis of variance is used by statisticians, by physicists, mathematicians, and computer scientists. So it has huge. So that's why topic is very important for all of us. So what does the analysis of variance reveal? So in the initial stage of the ANOVA test, analyze factors that affect a given data set. When the initial stage finishes, then the analyst performs additional testing on the methodological factors. It helps them to contribute to the data set with consistency measurably. Then the analyst performs the F-test. F-test is very popular test that helps to generate the additional data that align with the proper regression model. The analysis of methods also allows you to compare more than two groups at the same time to test that the relationship exists between them or not. So you can determine the variability of the samples and within samples with the results of ANOVA. If the tested group does not have any difference, then it is called the null hypothesis, and the result of F ratio statistics will also be close to 1. Now, ANOVA, it is developed by R.A. Fisher in 1920. If the number of samples is more than 2, the Z-test and T-test cannot be used. So, when Z-test and T-test cannot be used, then we use this ANOVA technique. So the technique of variance analysis developed by Fisher is very useful in such cases, in which case dead test and t-test will not applicable. Then we apply this ANOVA process. And with its help, it is possible to study the significance of the difference of mean values of a large number of samples at the same time. This is the importance of this technique. That we can compare, or we can find out the difference of mean values of a large number of samples at the same time. The techniques of variance analysis originated in agricultural research, where the effect of various type of soils on the output or the effect of different type of fertilizers on production had to be studied. So it is applicable to so many fields of research, but in agricultural research, it is used greatly, and we can see that the effect of various type of soils on the output of the food grains, or the effect of different type of fertilizers on production had to be studied by this technique. So the technique of the analysis of variance was extremely useful in all types of researches. The variance analysis studies the significance of the difference in means by analyzing variance. The variances would differ only when the means are significantly different. So when means are significantly different, then the variances would differ. Otherwise, the same. The technique of the analysis of variance as developed by Fisher is capable of fruitful application in a variety of problems. Now, what is F statistics? So for this topic, statistics is very important. So we have to know the tools of statistics like F test, T test. So what is F statistics here? So ANOVA measures two sources of variation in the data and compares their relative sizes. So variation between groups and variation within groups. So there are two types. One is variation between groups and variation within groups. So variation between groups. So for each data value, look at the difference between its group mean and the overall mean. And variation within groups, for each data value, we look at the difference between the value and the mean of its group. So this is the two types of ANOVA measures. Now, what is the formula of F statistics? So this is the formula where F is equal to MSE by MST, where F is equal to actually ANOVA coefficient, and MSE means mean sum square due to treatment, and MST means mean sum squares due to error. So this is the value of ANOVA coefficient, and by this coefficient we can analyze analysis of variance. So examples of how to use ANOVA. ANOVA, the researcher might use the ANOVA for various purposes, but there are a few examples of analysis of variance. The test students from multiple schools to see if the students from one school from the other schools. So in the field of business application, the marketing experts can test the two different marketing strategies of the business to see that one strategy is better than the other. So which strategy is better, that we can get from this ANOVA technique. There are different type of ANOVA tests, and these tests depend on the number of factors. So you can apply ANOVA when the data needs to be experimental. It is also an alternative of the statistics software, but you should use it for small samples. And if you want to perform ANOVA for a large number of experimental designs, then you should use the same sample size with various factors. So this is the limitation, one limitation of ANOVA technique. So that you should keep in mind. The technique of analysis of variance. The technique of analyzing the variance in case of single variable and in case of two variable is similar. So in both cases, a comparison is made between the variance of sample means with the residual variance. However, in case of a single variable, the total variance is divided into two parts, and variance between the samples and variance within the samples. The latter variance is the residual variance. In case of two variables, the total variance is divided in three parts. Variance due to variable number 1, variance due to variable number 2, and residual variance. Now, classification of ANOVA. ANOVA classified into two ways, one-way classification and two-way classification. So, now question is that what is one-way classification? So, one-way classification means in one-way classification we take into account only one variable, say the effect of different types of fertilizers on yield. So, this is one-way classification, and other factors like difference in soil fertility or the availability of irrigation facilities, etc., are not considered. So for one-way classification, we may conduct the experiment through a number of sample studies. Thus, if four different fertilizers are being used or being studied, then we may have 4 samples of 10 fields each and conduct the experiment. So we will note down the yield on each one of the field of various samples, and then with the help of F-test, try to find out if there is a significant difference in the mean yields given by different fertilizers. Now, what is two-way classification? So in a one-way classification, we take into account the effect of only one variable. So if there is a two-way classification, the effect of two variables can be studied. So here two variables are there. The procedure of analysis in a two-way classification is total both the columns and rows. The effect of one factor is studied through the columns-wise figures and totals, and of the other through the row-wise figures and totals. The variance are calculated for both the columns and rows, and they are compared with the residual variance or error. So application of ANOVA. Application of ANOVA is little bit same to t-test. So we know that use of t-test. So it is applicable similar to t-test. So more versatility than t-test. And ANOVA is the synthesis of several ideas, and it is used for multiple purposes. The statistical analysis depends on the design and discussion of ANOVA, therefore includes common statistical design used in pharmaceutical research. So this is particularly applicable to experiment, otherwise difficult to implement, such as in the case in clinical trials. So these are some use we have given. So that means we can analyze our drug is showing significant pharmacological action or not. So that we can analyze by ANOVA. Also, we can compare heights of plants with and without balls, and compare birth weights of deer in different geographical regions. Compare response of patient to real medication versus placebo. Compare attention spans of undergraduate students in different program at PC. So that these are the use. General application in pharmacy, biology, microbiology, agriculture, statistics, marketing, business research, finance, mechanical calculations. So everywhere you can use this ANOVA technique. So it has a huge application. So that's why it is very important topic. Now we have given a ANOVA table. So in the analysis of variance, we use the statistical analysis to test the degree of differences between two or more groups in an experiment. So besides, we use the ANOVA table to display the results in tabular form. And this data is used to test the hypothesis about the population mean. So there are one or two ways to show the ANOVA table depending on the various factors. So this is one table, source, And DF, SS, MS, F, and P explained in the next slide. The factors, error, and total is given. So what is source? It means the source which is responsible for the variation of the data. And what is DF? DF means degree of freedom of the data. SS means the sum of the squares of the data. MS means mean sum of the squares of the data. F means F statistics. P means P value. Factor, it indicates the variability that results from the factor of interest. Error means it means the unexplained random error or the variability within the groups. Total means it's the total deviation of the data from the grand mean. This is actually deviation. Now, interpretation of the ANOVA table is as follows. In the ANOVA table, if the obtained p-value is less than or equivalent to the significance level, then the null hypothesis gets automatically rejected and concluded that all the means are not equal to the given population. So we will explain these things in next slide also. So we will show some Python programming. We will run some code of Python programming. Then we can see the significance of p-value. So p-value, if p-value is less than or equivalent to the significant level, then the null hypothesis gets automatically rejected and concluded that all the means are not equal to the given population. Now, analysis of variance in repeated measures. So, analysis of repeated measures, ANOVA, is the equivalent of the one-way ANOVA. It is also referred to as a within subject ANOVA with correlated samples. It is used to detect the difference between the related means. The procedure to perform the analysis of variance designs are using the general linear models approach. It includes the three between subject terms. The repeated measures designs are quite popular. The reason is it allows the subject to serve as their own control. So besides, it also improves the precision of the estimate with the help of reducing the size of the error variance of the test. It uses the general linear model framework to perform the calculations. Now, how to perform a one-way ANOVA in Python? So, one-way ANOVA in Python is a test that is used to find out whether there exists a statistically significant difference between the mean values of more than one group. Now, hypothesis, what is the hypothesis for this? So, a one-way ANOVA has the below given null and alternative hypothesis. So, H0 null hypothesis, mu1 for this case, mu1 mean are equal, mu1, mu2, mu3, mu it implies that the means of all the populations are equal. And H1 is null hypothesis. It states that there will be at least one population mean that differs from the rest. And this is a problem that researchers took 20 cars of the same to take part in a study. Suppose 20 cars are there. So these cars are randomly dropped with one of the 4 engine oils and allowed to run freely for 100 kilometers each. So at the end of the journey, the performance of each of the cars is noted. So before proceeding further, we need to install the SciPy library in our system. So it is a library function, SciPy. It is called scientific Python, and it should be installed in your system. Then you can proceed further. So you can install this library by using the below command in the terminal. Now, what is SciPy library function? So SciPy actually it is a library function, and it is a scientific computation library that uses NumPy underneath. So it is also NumPy is also a library function for Python. SciPy stands for scientific Python. It provides more utility function for optimization, states, and signal processing. So like NumPy and SciPy is open source, so you can use it freely. SciPy was created by NumPy's creator, Travis Oliphant. And why we use SciPy? So SciPy uses underneath of NumPy, and why can we not just use NumPy? SciPy has optimized and added functions that are frequently used in NumPy and data science. So that's why it is very popular library functions. So stepwise implementation we have given. So conducting a one-way ANOVA test in Python is a step-by-step process, and these steps are explained below. So first of all, we have to create data groups, and that we have created is given performance 1, performance. These are the list. Actually, there are 4 lists: performance 1, performance 2, performance 3, performance 4. This is the first step. And in second step, conduct the one-way ANOVA. Python provides us a one-way function from SciPy library using which we can conduct the one-way ANOVA. And this is the code for Python programming, and this is the output. So you can see this. I'm showing here. So this is the actually one-way ANOVA. So just check it. Okay. So this is the code, and this is SciPy library function. F underscore one-way is the function. So this actually giving the result. So this is performance 1. These are the list: performance 1, performance 2, performance 3, performance 4. And if we run this code, then we are getting this results. If one-way result statistics, let's say 4.6250, and p-value is this 0.0163. So by this p-value, we can analyze this result. So that this thing we can get from slide. Yeah. So this is the output. We have already shown this. Now analyze the result. So the F statistic and p value, we have got that F statistic is 4.625 and p value is 0.0163 respectively. Since the p value is less than 0.05, hence we would reject the null hypothesis. This implies that we have sufficient proof to say that there exists a difference in the performance among 4 different engine oils. So difference are there. This is the result. Now two-way ANOVA. So two-way ANOVA in statistics stands for analysis of variance, and it is used to check whether there is a statistically significant difference between the mean value of 3 or more that has been divided into 2 factors. In simple words, ANOVA is a test conducted in statistics, and it is used to interpret the difference between the mean value of at least 3 groups. The main objective of a two-way ANOVA is to find out how 2 factors affect the response variable, and to find out whether there is a relation between the 2 factors on the response variable. So for this, we have to install NumPy library function. So what is NumPy library function? What is NumPy? NumPy is the Python library used for working with arrays. Whenever we are working with arrays, then we have to install this library function. It also has functions for working in domain of linear algebra, Fourier transform, and matrices. So NumPy was created in 2005 by Travis Oliphant, same by SciPy, who has invented SciPy. The same person, Travis Oliphant, invented NumPy. So it is an open source project and you can use it freely. NumPy stands for numerical Python. So why we use NumPy? In Python, we have lists that serve the purpose of arrays, but they are slow to process. So NumPy aims to provide an array object that is up to 50x faster than traditional Python list. So it is basically, it gives a faster result. The array object in NumPy is called NdArray, and it provides a lot of supporting functions that makes working with NdArray very easy. Arrays are very frequently used in data science, where speed and resources are very important. Now, what is pandas? It is also a library function. So pandas is a Python library used for working with datasets. So it has functions for analyzing or cleaning, exploring, and manipulating data. So the name pandas has a reference to both panel data and Python data analysis and was created by Mess McKinney in 2008. So why use pandas? Pandas allows us to analyze big data and make conclusion based on statistical theories. So pandas can clean messy data sets and make them readable and relevant. So relevant data is very important in data science. So what can pandas do? Pandas gives you answer about the data, like is there a correlation between two or more columns? So what is average value? That also given by pandas, and max value, mean value also given by pandas. So pandas are also able to delete rows that are not relevant or contains wrong values, like empty or null values. That is called cleaning the data. So for cleaning data, pandas library functions is very useful. Now performing two-way ANOVA in Python. So let us consider an example in which scientists need to know whether plant growth is affected by fertilizers and watering frequency. So they planted exactly 30 plants and allowed them to grow for 6 months under different conditions for fertilizers and watering frequency. So after exactly 6 months, they recorded the heights of each plant centimeters in centimeters. So performing a two-way ANOVA in Python is a step-by-step process, and these are discussed below. So it is also step-by-step process. In first process, the first step, what we will do, the very first step is to import the libraries installed above. Two library functions have to be installed. One is NumPy and another one is pandas. So NumPy as NP and pandas as PD. Okay, so now second thing is entering the data. So let us create a pandas data frame. So data frame is very useful here. So you have to know how to make a data frame. So for this, we can give you an example, simple example of data frame. So that is actually data frame. Data frame. Yeah. So this is the simplest example of data frame. Okay. So this thing, this is data frame. So we are storing calories with duration. So suppose in 50 hours, we are burning calorie for 420. So then we are allocating this value. The format is this: data is equal to second bracket, then calories 420, 380, 390, and duration is corresponding duration as 50, 40, and 45. So this is thing, and another data frame is this. This is also a data frame. So numbers, maybe n numbers will be there. Here 3 numbers are there. You can increase numbers of data, and also number of calories, duration, and other variable also you can increase here. So this is one example of data frame. Suppose you can take 3 data of you. You can use comma, and again you can second bracket. E X. So in this way, you can use 3 um, variables here also. So that you can do. You can increase number of variables in this way. So another example is this. Yeah, this is another example. So we are allocating A equal to A on B. So this is given B here. So in this way, we are getting we can get results from here. So here if we take A, so duration. That we are getting B. So in duration, we have allocated B, so that's why it is given this. And here it is given that calories. So for calories, we are getting A. In this way, we can use another variable here also. Suppose here. Okay. Another variables. Calories, duration. Suppose we are using day. Day. Monday. Monday. So
It should be ATA or data, DATA.
yeah, data. It is actually data. No problem. You can give any name here.
Okay.
Any name you can give TA also. Actually, it is data, but D is deleted for better understanding. So you can give any name here.
Okay.
So here we have used only D. No problem. You can give any name. So one thing you have to keep in mind. So whenever you are using uh, some number, then this double inverted comma is not required. Okay. So suppose when 420, so 380, 390, here double inverted comma is not there. But if we use some string, then you have to give double inverted comma. That you have to keep in mind. Okay. So, okay. 2a and over. So this example is given. So let us create a pandas data frame. So data frame is created here. So that consists of the following three variables: fertilizers, watering, and height. There are three variables: fertilizers, watering, and height. Fertilizers, how frequently each plant was fertilized, that is daily or weekly. And watering means how frequently each plant was watered, that is daily or weekly. And height means the height of each plant after 6 months in inches, that is given. So it is data frame. Create a data frame we have created, pt dot data frame, and here three variables are there: fertilizer, watering, and height. So 15 means number of times it is experiment is happening, and that is actually this location indicates the repetition of the experiment. So this is 15s. So 15s and 15, 30 times we are observing the height of the plant. So that's why there are 30 results. 14 inches, 16 inches in this way. So this is data frame. Then what is data frame, that we have already explained. This example we have explained here. This result we can get from here also. Yeah, it is there. So this is the result that you can get. So in this way, you can run this program here. So this is the result we are getting from Python programming. Now step 3, conduct the two-way ANOVA. To perform the two-way ANOVA, the state models library provides us with ANOVA im function. The syntax of the function is given below. Syntax already we have executed, and combining all these steps, we are getting this code. So if we run, then we are getting this output. So this thing and see this output from here also by two-way ANOVA. Okay. Two-way ANOVA. Okay. So if we run this program, then we are getting these results. So here, see fertilizers. This is fertilizers, this is watering, and this is F value, mean square value, sum square value, and this is the DF. So by this result, we can analyze the two-way ANOVA. So this is the result actually. Now we can interpret the result the following way. The following are the p-values for each of the factors of the output. So there are three factors. So there are three p-value we are getting. So fertilizer p-value is equal to 0.913305 and watering p-value is equal to 0.990865. And the fertilizer watering p-value is equal to this 0.904053. So the p-values for watering and watering is less than 0.05, which implies that means of both the factors possesses a statistically significant effect on the plant height. The p-value for the interaction effect is greater than 0.05, which depicts that there is no significant interaction effect between fertilizer frequency and watering frequency. So we are getting p-value more than 0.05. That's why there is no significant interaction between fertilizer frequency and watering frequency. So these are the references. Thank you. Thank you. So you can ask questions.
What are the difference between one-way and two-way ANOVA test?
Hello.